I'm joined now by Peter Hitchens from Panmure Gordon UK. Peter, welcome. Thanks for joining us this morning. Just looking, first of all, at the share price. Such a steep drop yesterday, and I think some analysts were looking at that and thinking that's the lowest it's going to go. This is the bottom, and yet we're still seeing more weakness today. Does that surprise you?
It does, but the market just really hates uncertainty at this stage. We don't know when the spill's going to get cleaned up, how much it's ultimately going to cost, and what the potential sort of punitive damages could be, and that really is worrying the market. But I think a $70 billion drop in BP's market capitalisation is way in excess of the potential damages that could occur to the company.
Really? So you're still thinking this share is a buy?
I still do. I've still got a price target of £6.
I know. I was going to ask you about that. That sounds a bit optimistic right now, doesn't it?
It's looking a little high, but don't forget what happened to Exxon after Exxon Valdez. The shares bounced back and closed the year at a high. The same with Occidental after Piper Alpha back in 1988.
But let's look at this a bit longer term. I mean, I appreciate that we're hearing some strong words that might not be followed up on, but, you know, there are even US officials talking about seizing BP's assets in order to help them to pay for this oil spill. Do you think that at the end of the day, President Obama is going to stop deep water drilling, or is that just something that the US can't do?
There's going to be a temporary stop on deep water drilling, that's for certain, and it's in place for 6 months. What's going to happen is safety is going to be really tightened up. It's going to be more expensive to drill. There'll be far greater controls on them.
But it will be more expensive to drill for everybody, not just BP.
It will be expensive for everyone. You know, there's no question about that. Rig costs will go up. But the US relies on the deep water for source of crude.
And what about BP's dividend? Is it going to pay a dividend, and if so, high?
BP's got a very, very strong balance sheet. The gearing levels are at the bottom of its comfort band. It balances its cash flow with its capital expenditure and dividend payment. And assuming the actual impact of this isn't too great, BP should still be able to maintain the dividend. I'm fairly sort of confident in that. The other problem is we don't know who's actually to blame. It's not just BP. BP's in the spotlight. But it's whether it's Transocean, Halliburton, Cameron, there's a whole raft of companies who are also thought to be responsible.
No, we're also looking at a criminal investigation today, which is new and obviously maybe having an impact as well on the share price. I suppose then the focus does go on to who did what in the past.
Well, that's going to have to happen once the clean-up's been done. There'll be a thorough investigation, find out what went wrong and who was responsible for it. And then you take it further with criminal investigations. But these things are likely to drag through court for years and years.
Now, we're seeing at the moment live pictures of what's going on underwater there in the Gulf of Mexico. The problem is that after Top Kill failed, there is now a degree of uncertainty as to when and even if this oil is going to be able to be capped.
I think the Top Kill was their main hope, and that really hasn't worked. They're on to Plan B at the moment.
It's kind of Plan D, isn't it? Or
it's
E or
about
F.
Plan F, G. You know, and there is uncertainty. I think they're really relying now on the relief wells, and they're not going to be completed until the end of July at the earliest.
Now, what about Tony Hayward's future? Positive things being said by investors, but can he really stay long term?
I think he's got a very good standing within the company and within the financial community. You know, he's a breath of fresh air. He's relatively new to the job, and he's done everything very well up until this spill. You know, things were back on track, and the market likes him.
And you don't think that the US is going to demand his scalp?
I hope not.
OK, thank you very much indeed, Peter Hitchens.
You're welcome.